What's up, guys? So let's go over the markets today. See what we're looking at going into next week. Um, so starting here off on the indexes, let's clear that real quick. Okay, so taking a look at the indexes, you can see here, we had this bear flag type action on across all the indexes that actually led to a mean reversion back to the 200 daily and then a sell-off towards the end of the week. So Friday was pretty hefty selling. You can see a lot of volume came in on that day on Friday. Um, you can see there wasn't as much selling pressure on the Dow. The volume was a little lower. The volume was a little lower here as well on IWM, but you can see pretty strong volume on SPY and QQQ. We can see that the volume in comparison to the average 128%, 123% on the Qs, and then also 170% of the previous day's volume. Or, yep. So here. And so right now, all the scores bearish, -33, -33, -39, and a -29. So we are bearish across the boards on the indexes. Okay. So next thing we want to look at is the VIX. You can see we had this bounce off the 200 here. And we're just seeing signs of a reversal here. So we've got a weekly buy printing on the VIX, which isn't too important because the VIX is a very mean reverting asset. So I think we kind of just have to see how we settle in. But we do have a daily squeeze, which if we go look at the VIX from prior action, you can see these daily squeezes, once they fire, they give pretty good moves. So we do want to pay attention to um, the kind of action that it presents going into this week. So, if we look at the prior signals here, you can see we had this buy signal down here with the squeeze, and then we had a buy signal from the indicator, and we had a pop up. And then, so it's looking pretty similar. So we're getting an oversold buy here, which we've seen some decent pops off of in the past. So we have to pay attention to that. So we got to keep an eye on the VIX. The only thing that leads me a little bit bullish, not bullish, but not wanting to jump into shorts at this point here is the put call ratio. So you can see here that we went up and went to 0.999. So we almost hit 1.0, didn't quite, but and then rejected off of it. Now, if we take a look here, this here, you can see all the crosshairs match up across the board. So when you're looking at this, we can see that here we had, that's where we put in the low when we were above zero point 0.9. And then if we continue through here, if we put, or then we started here and opened up at 0.93, so above zero point 0.9 again, and we had a gap up the next day. And then here you can see we had we closed at 0.94. We gapped down, but filled the gap and then gapped up the next day on a pretty strong move up, right? And then we opened up at 0.64, and then we didn't really have any more juice to go higher. And then now you can see that it started to climb. And so the past 1, 2, 3 times we've been up above zero point 0.9. So let's check out these readings prior to. So here we were about above zero point 0.9 for a minute when we opened up. So that gave us a mean reversion. And then here we opened up and just didn't really go anywhere when we opened above zero point 0.1 and then had a green day the next day. So I am expecting on Monday, not expecting, but looking for a green day on Monday, maybe Tuesday, kind of just depends. We'll just have to evaluate the price action when it opens up. But that's what's leaning me towards We're not going to just flush and have a huge gap down into the lows. I think we might pop one more time and then consolidate a little bit more and then eventually push lower. And this put call has been pretty accurate in terms of what happens in the preceding days. So, or the following days. So I want to pay attention to that and think, okay, we might get another pop if we get another zero point 0.7 reading, like if we look here. So readings below zero point 0.7. So you can see here that resulted in a down day the next day. This reading down here didn't have too much effect. Same thing here. Well, we had a gap down the next day, but here when we were getting those zero point 0.7 readings, we have to take it in the context of a move away from the mean, comes back to the mean, and then we're now having an explosion away from the mean. And I think we might have that reversion in the next day or two, or at least not go and break these lows. So that's what I'm looking for initially going into the beginning of the week. And then if we go take a look at just some stocks that I'm looking at. So just to round off this discussion here before we get into that, basically we got that mean reversion that I've been talking about for a few weeks now, since this low here. We got the mean reversion. Now we're having the explosion away from the mean. I think that this is not going to lead into a flush to the lows. I think this is going to be, we might gap up on Monday or at least trade somewhat higher on Monday, potentially Tuesday. And then I don't think we're going to make a new low. I think we'll trade sideways for a little bit longer, let this price action get a little more tighter, and then look for that flush. So we'll use that opportunity to potentially get into some short positions. So now, if we go into stocks, let's go to, so some of my favorite setups here. So Aflac, I think that if we look at, we've been talking about this for a couple weeks now. So KIE, so this is the insurance ETF. So this one has weekly buy signals and has produced nice moves off of weekly buy signals here, 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 here. They've all presented good trading opportunities. So I am looking for us to pop potentially into a new high on insurance stocks. And the first one I want to lean on is Aflac, and this one has daily buy signals, has weekly buy signals, and we're making higher lows. Chart looks pretty solid for a move back up into 115. And then we go to BJ's, the whole store, or host wholesale store. Um, this one, along with other department stores like KR, looks pretty solid. There's one other one that I can't think of off Ollie's bargain outlet. So this one here looks good as well. This one's got weekly signals, daily signals printing. So and 30-minute to the end of the day. So that one looks good, but I'm keeping an eye on BJ's here. We're just below the all-time high. Price action is getting tight. And I think that we may see a nice breakout here off the 4 hour. I think that this may get a good breakout above that 113 level. So I'm looking for continuation on this name and then potentially into 116. And then from there, going with the insurance theme, I think PGR has a nice setup here. It's got this cup and handle type deal going on. We broke out of this range on nice volume on Friday. So we're currently holding above that. We've got pretty decent room to make it to a new all-time high. So I am looking for a potential breakout on this one, and a move into about 290-ish, this price target level here. Another ones that have been doing well is the communication sector. So T-Mobile, if we go look at what is this? What is that one called? T. Okay, so here you can see we had this nice pullback, buy signals, and then right into the target. And this is wireless communications. I'm looking for the same thing here to have a breakout into new highs. This one is a lot stronger than AT&T. This one is at trading at all-time highs, while T is pretty far off all-time highs. So I am looking for a continuation in this one. I do like this one as long as the markets can hold its lows. This one is pretty resilient compared to the markets, as you can see. So I am looking for potential breakout and move back up into a new high. Philip Morris. So this kind of goes along the lines of the other stocks that have consumer staples that are showing up. So BJ's, KR, Philip Morris is within the consumer staples, but it's primarily focused in, I mean, it is tobacco company. So this one did have a really nice run up off of earnings and gap up. So can we get another run in earnings on April 23rd? So we've got a little less than a month, but this one here has got 4-hour buy signals, daily signals, 30-minute signals, held up well against the market. I think this one's ready for a move into all-time highs as well. And then continuing along the ideas of uh, consumer staples, KO. This one has this nice cup and handle pattern, gap up after earnings and is trading sideways, creating this handle. I think this one looks pretty solid here. We've got the slingshot squeeze going on. We've got some buy signals, bought up pretty well um, off of the sell-off on Friday. And so we've got these daily buy signals here. So this one looks pretty good. We've got a solid score. If we look at XLP, the sector as a whole for these consumer staples, we had a reversal buy, but more importantly, we have this weekly buy printing. So we might have a chance of making a high and making a new move as we are bouncing off support. So I would not gear towards trading this. I'd rather trade Philip Morris. I'd rather trade KO. I think those ones are probably more opportune to make new price highs. And I think this one looks like it's destined to make a new high as we've had these nice few stocks where we've gapped up off of earnings and are now trading sideways. And then last one I'll show you is WMB. So this one is a longer period one. Needs to pull back a little bit, but this had a huge rally. So if energy can break out, because it does have a weekly buy, which the charts are extremely choppy, so I'm kind of staying away from this. But WMB has shown a huge divergence in strength. You can see here we kind of traded way lower, and then now we are trading at a new high. So, and we have a weekly buy signal. So if we can get a pullback, get a buy signal to enter, I'd love to trade this one long and be long this name. So I hope this helps. Thank you guys for watching. So initially, I'm looking for a little bit of strength. I'm looking for us to hold the lows early this week and then kind of trade sideways the rest of the week and then kind of set up for another push lower. So um, plan B is maybe we can get a bounce and go retest the 21 EMA. So, but I'm expecting some more sideways action going into this week and not necessarily taking out these lows. But if we do, plans change and we can look for these short opportunities, which would be ON. This one's got some sell signals, just need a little bit of a pullback. And then Cat has got some sell signals as well. And then last one is XBI. So this one is biotech. This one has sell signals, so this one looks pretty good as well. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.